Your state's most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Jesse Irwin. Coming up this half hour, we're going to hear from siblings who are pretty successful on the cross-country course, and the Trump campaign continues to pursue legal challenges to the results of the presidential election. So for our something to talk about this morning, we want to know whether you think the president should concede the election. You can also participate in our Insta Poll. Just head to our KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. And first, let's check on your forecast.
We'll start with the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin. It is a warm Monday morning, 62 degrees. Here we are in the middle of November. My goodness. Now, we do have some changes coming, but before we get there, it's going to be a delightful four-state day. Wind still coming in from the south, but if we're starting in the 60s and we don't have any cold front coming in on us yet, you know it's going to be a delightful start to the work week. Now, up to the northwest, we do have changes on the horizon. It's going to take a little bit for them to get to us, but you can tell there's your dividing line where the colder temperatures are with the trough of the jet stream. Not going to be on us until Tuesday. We get a Monday that shoots us into the 70s. Absolutely delightful. Now we're going to have some thunderstorm activity that's going to emerge tomorrow morning. All right, so there it begins early in the morning up to the northwest, and luckily we won't have the wintry precip, but watch our temperatures as they dive straight down. We're going to have about a good 25-degree drop throughout the course of our Tuesday. So enjoy one more day in the 70s before a little taste of November truly sets in, and we're in the 60s and 50s for the rest of the week.
So then once we hit that, are we sort of staying there for the rest of the year?
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll kind of be locked in seasonable temperatures. I always like to point out when you get that 69 at the bottom and that same temperature at the top, that means that temperature hits that at midnight and down you go from there.
Got it. So we're going to be, this is our last kind of warm day.
This is our last hurrah, if you will.
All right, I'll take it. Thanks, Michael. Well, major news network Saturday projected that Joseph Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. Biden, who turns 78 at the end of this month, will become the nation's oldest president when he is inaugurated in January. Senator Kamala Harris is America's first female and first black and South Asian vice president-elect. The race was called Saturday morning after the Associated Press, CBS News, Fox News, and others projected Biden won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, giving him more than the 270 electoral votes needed in order to win the presidency. Biden was also projected to take Nevada, putting him at 279 electoral votes. Only Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alaska are still in play. Well, plenty of voters in Kansas are upset about Saturday's call on the election. Trump supporters gathered outside of the Kansas State House in Topeka, voicing their opposition to Biden. The dozens of people assembled there say they have concerns about fraud and corruption. Well, a similar scene played out in Jeff City, where hundreds gathered in front of the state capitol with flags and shirts showing their support for Trump, saying they believe the election was stolen. Protesters at the Stop the Steal rally walked to the governor's mansion in hopes that Mike Parson would hear them and publicly support the president. Well, around 100 Trump supporters gathered on 7th and Range Line in Joplin for a Stop the Steal rally in support of President Trump. Trump supporters waved flags and signs reading "Stop the Steal, Biden for treason," and other words of support for Donald Trump. The rally was promoted on social media over the past 2 days in hopes of a big turnout. Well, there's no shortage of opinion on the updated election results projecting Joe Biden as our next president. We paid a visit to Pittsburgh's Meadowbrook Mall to find out what some voters are saying.
I'm not quite sure if it's over yet. I believe, mail-in ballots are still coming in. Either way that it's going to be called, I believe recounts are going to be happening. Just our political climate in general, I believe, is pretty toxic. Either party, whoever wins president will be my president.
While several people declined speaking on camera, some voters did tell us they don't trust the results so far. Well, Friday's grand opening of the Pitt State Block 22 Pittsco Idea Shop brought some top Kansas officials to Pittsburgh, including Kansas Governor Laura Kelly. But the real star of the show was the event's entertainment. KOAM's Mike Mahoney has the details.
The Pittsco Idea Shop is an excellent example of how our colleges and universities employ an energetic approach to public-private partnerships.
Kansas Governor Laura Kelly was one of many big names having a blast at Friday's grand opening of PSU's Block 22 Pitsco Idea Shop in Pittsburgh. Instead of a ribbon cutting, PSU representatives and other state and local officials raced CO2-powered dragsters that were built in the Idea Shop by local students. These smaller speedsters are also an homage to Pitsco's past.
It's one of Pitsco's first products. It's a product that launched Pitsco education in a lot of respects 50 years ago.
The Idea Shop is open to anyone who pays for a membership and features tech including 3D printers, laser engravers, and more that four-state entrepreneurs and innovators can use to bring their ideas to life. A PSU freshman who helped area's 6th through 12th graders construct their cars says she's already inspired and looking forward to tinkering in the shop.
I think that'd be a really fun experience to do. I'm not the most handy person, but I think it's just really cool to see what the kids can come in and do and kind of learn from them.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Later in the day, the 6th through 12th graders who built the dragsters got to come in and race them for prizes. It's really cool. Well, holiday cheer is spreading in Pittsburgh. Motorcyclists got together on Saturday for the 36th annual Toy Run, donating dozens of gifts for kids in the to the Salvation Army. Now, local bikers gathered outside the Big Lots in Pittsburgh, picking up toys from there and other local businesses to donate to the cause. Different biker groups headed out together on a parade down Broadway to the Salvation Army, where buckets and tables were waiting for the donations. Now, this event kicks off the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Box campaign, which helps out hundreds of families in need every single year. Beer and trivia lovers, they came together for a night of knowledge at the Beer Engine Brewing in Alba, Missouri yesterday. Patrons were invited to participate, coming up with a fun team name for their group, and from there the game was on as people competed on some general knowledge questions. Trivia night began after some regulars brought the idea up to the owners.
We have two patrons that come basically every Sunday, and they're the one that kind of pitched the idea, and they actually give us all the questions. She literally makes us our answer sheets, our question sheets, and prints out all the sheets for everyone. She does everything for us.
Well, the winners get beer and bragging rights. It is 5:07, Michael.
Light Monday morning cloud cover, gradually clearing skies. It's going to be another blustery one coming in from the south, 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 35 at times. But temperatures cannot be beat this time of year. That's 77. That's good, 15 degrees above normal for the middle of November. Now remember, we've got thunderstorm activity that begins tomorrow, followed by a cold front that drops us down about 25 degrees by Tuesday afternoon. Jesse?
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, preparing for a transition.
President-elect Joe Biden isn't wasting any time getting ready for his first day in office. I'm Deborah Alferone in Washington with what we might expect.
Plus, the Kansas City Chiefs and Carolina Panthers face off at Arrowhead. We have those highlights for you. And why health officials say we might have a coronavirus vaccine in a couple months. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Chiefs were rolling headed into the weekend, went into Sunday 7-1, had won their last 3 consecutive games, and back at Arrowhead with a chance to face the Carolina Panthers. Patrick Mahomes looking to make some history. Opening drive, 4th down for Carolina is where we'll start though. Teddy Bridgewater to Christian McCaffrey back on the field for the first time in about 6 weeks. 9 yards for the score as the Panthers strike first. Late second quarter, Chiefs down 14-6. Mahomes to Demarcus Robinson. 2-yard touchdown. Chiefs head into the locker room down 4. Third quarter, off play action, Mahomes to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 4-yard score. Now Kansas City's up 20-17. In the fourth, wide open Tyreek Hill. Mahomes, fastest quarterback to reach 100 passing touchdowns. Took him just 40 games as he breaks the record previously held by Dan Marino. Later, 1st and goal for KC. Mahomes to Hill again. 33-24 at this point. Now, 2 seconds to play. Carolina down 2. Joey Sly, an NFL record 68-yard field goal. Nah, but you had to take a shot at it. Chiefs hold off the Panthers, win it 33-31. KC into the bye week at 8-1. Competition runs in the family for 2 siblings. Together, Kaylee and Corey McGloga have 6, get that, 6 Kansas High School State Cross Country Championships. Andy Ciateco caught up with the two on how they push each other on the course.
Matt Logue hoped to share his passion for running with his 2 kids, not knowing it would turn out even better than he imagined.
When my kids were younger, I thought it would be really enjoyable if one of them liked to run cross country, and I got to coach one of my 2 kids. And then to have them both be so successful, I never dreamed I'd ever coach a state champion, much less 2.
Matt's oldest, Kaylee, ran for him at Girard from 2014 to 2017, collecting 9 individual state track titles and 4 cross-country championships.
I remember my freshman year, I won cross country, and Cormac walked up to me and he said, like, he wasn't very pleased. And I was like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Now I have to try to do the same thing," kind of like sibling rivalry.
Kaylee's younger brother, Cormac, has found his own success as a Trojan. Last week, the senior captured his 2nd straight 4A boys state cross-country title.
With the background that we have in running, that has set us up to do these type of things, I feel like a big part of that is, our prep in high school and our coaching.
The pandemic allowed the siblings to train together before the cross-country season.
She came home because of COVID, and when she did, we would go on, easy runs, and we just kind of would keep each other honest.
Our family is competitive in a fun way, so it's not like it ends up being part of your identity or part of like a bitterness, but it's really fun to train together and to root for each other.
That training over the summer paid off for Kaylee. She won a 3rd straight Big 12 women's cross-country title for Iowa State with her family watching, the day before Cormac won his 2nd state title.
They've actually never been able to come to a Big 12s before because they coach our high school team, and state and Big 12s always fall on the same weekend. But since both, state and the Big 12s are in Kansas this year, they did a lot of driving, but they were able to be at both, and I was very thankful for that.
As far as sibling rivalry goes,
I wouldn't want Cormac and me to be compared too much. I think he has a very unique path, a very unique experience, and he puts in the work himself and does a great job. So I was happy to see his state titles and to kind of see dreams that he had voiced even when he was a little kid.
Well, congratulations to both Kaylee and Cormac and the entire Logue family on the ultimate success that they've had here in the 4 states. Well, Kaylee's doing it throughout the entire Big 12, I guess. Still to come on the KOM Morning News, the latest on Tropical Storm Eta after it slams into the Cuban coast, now wreaking havoc in South Florida, and not done, possibly re-emerging as a hurricane. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOM Morning News returns. Just pushed past 5:17. Great time for weather on the 7s here on the Monday morning. We want to turn our attention to the November 9th almanac for 2 reasons. Number 1, average high this time of year would be 62. We're past that before we even get sunrise. Another delightfully warm mid-November day, and this is about to change as well. Our monthly precipitation totals that now stand at nil. Finally going to pick some up tomorrow morning. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin will be eyeballing the wind because it's going to increase anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour sustained, get some 35 mile per hour gusts this afternoon. And of course that's going to warm us up. Humidity not going to be too bad. We're not even going to go with a elevated fire risk today. We'll be able to avoid that. 65 in Parsons, 63 in Monette, and 62 right now in Pittsburgh. So for the bus stop forecast, imagine this. Like I said, we're sitting above our normal high. Well, when we get sunrise at 6:51, we're going to about be at 70 degrees by the time we get to 9 o'clock. Wind increases as well, as I mentioned. Light cloud cover out to the west a little bit, but what we're paying attention to is that northwestern portion. Starting to see a little thunderstorm activity on the leading edge of the cold front, and when I say cold front, look at that. We're talking easily definable on the color contours. The jet stream sweeps down out of Canada, creates a big trough down in the deep southwest, almost through Arizona, and just going to let everything fall this way right toward us. Let's go ahead and update Tropical Storm Eta around the Florida Keys and the south coast of Florida. But look at this. Looks like it wants to go backward, re-emerge as a Category 1 hurricane, and then make landfall possibly a second time up by the Florida Panhandle. We'll pay attention to that here by the time we get to the middle of the week. For our Monday, absolutely perfect. Let's get to the good stuff, and that's what comes overnight with thunderstorm activity and the cold front. Now, everything originates out to the northwest, starts very early Tuesday morning. Got some thunder, lightning, and high winds out to the west, takes us all the way through the afternoon hours. Now, watch the numbers. Big cold front drops in on the back side of it. We do just see the marginal area on the severe thunderstorm risk map, so not looking at anything too bad. And it's actually some much needed rain. And welcome back, November temps. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're learning more about the first priorities for the Biden-Harris administration. The transition team rolled out its website and social media over the weekend. And today, President-elect Biden starts his COVID task force. Deborah Alfarone is in D.C. She has the latest.
President-elect Joe Biden isn't wasting any time preparing for the White House.
Our work begins with getting COVID under control.
Today, Mr. Biden introduces his coronavirus task force.
That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern.
Former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy and former FDA Commissioner David Kessler will lead the group.
Joe Biden is going to make good on his promises on the campaign trail.
CBS News has learned President-elect Biden is expected to unveil a series of executive orders on his first day in office. They include rescinding President Trump's travel ban on several Muslim-majority countries, reinstating the DACA program, and rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement.
This is what the American people voted for. This is what they want to see.
President Trump has yet to concede the election while his campaign pursues legal challenges in several battleground states. Many elected Republicans are supporting his fight.
Do not concede, Mr. President. Fight hard.
But legal experts say the campaign's arguments lack evidence.
Even if they had merit, which the vast majority of them do not, they wouldn't result in the overturning of the election. They might result in a few dozen ballots here or there being thrown out.
President-elect Biden is ahead by about 45,000 votes in Pennsylvania and 10,000 votes in Georgia. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
Senior White House officials tell CBS News the president will concede when all legal options are exhausted and when the, quote, final numbers, end quote, reflect a Biden win. Our question to you on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta Poll: should President Donald Trump concede the election? Let us know why or why not. And to take part in our vote, go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, day after day, the U.S. is breaking one record after another as COVID-19 continues to spread. So where are we now on a vaccine? As Brett Conway reports, Dr. Anthony Fauci says he's cautiously optimistic that we might have something in the next couple of months.
It's really concerning. This is going to get worse before it gets better, and it could get significantly worse.
Former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb believes the COVID-19 case count will, in his words, explode over the next several weeks.
We're right at a tipping point. It's not just the number of cases that are being diagnosed, but we need to look at hospitalizations, which are growing very quickly across all country.
All while scientists work frantically to find a vaccine. Dr. Anthony Fauci told the CEO of the American Medical Association that the U.S. has 6 vaccine candidates in the works. 5 of those are in phase 3 trials, and 2 of them are fully enrolled.
We hope that as we get into November, and maybe in the early December, we will get an answer as to whether or not one or more of these candidates are safe and effective. I'm cautiously optimistic.
But having a vaccine isn't a cure-all, literally. There are going to be 2 key questions at play.
First of all, how effective would the vaccine be? And as importantly, how many individuals are going to opt to take the vaccine?
So if we get a reasonably effective vaccine and a substantial number of people take it,
I think we're going to be going in the right direction towards approaching some degree of normality as we head into 2021 in the second, third, and fourth quarter of 2021.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
As the case count ticks up, Dr. Gottlieb expects we will see some cities and states adopt more restrictive measures based on how the virus is developing in each particular region. 1 in 5 children have a parent who is hesitant about vaccines. The new survey published in the journal Pediatrics finds that uncertainty can impact some parents' decisions about flu vaccines. flu vaccine is recommended for everyone 6 months of age and older. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
I was outside, about got blown over out there. I gotta go fix my hair real fast. I'm coming in about 20 miles an hour right now. It's a warm one. Temperature's already in the 60s. It's gonna be delightful today. And I tell you what, if you like this mid-November warmth, you got one more day to take advantage of it. Remember, we got thunderstorm activity coming tomorrow and a big cold front on the backside of it. Watch this thing drop down on us. We're going to see about a 25-degree drop here during Tuesday afternoon. More KOM Morning News next.
Media outlets project Joe Biden to be the next president of the United States. A look at what comes next. Plus, we'll look at how four-staters reacted to the results of the election and how local bikers are helping make sure every kid gets a toy for Christmas this year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, our something to talk about this morning is about the results of the election. We want to know whether or not you think President Trump should concede. You can also cast your vote in the KOAM Insta Poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, check on your forecast.
Warm and windy from the Freeman Health System sky camera, and I mean it's warm right now. Already 62 degrees in Joplin, with the wind coming in. That's 6 miles per hour. Something's going right in Joplin, because I'll tell you, it's about 20 miles per hour out here at the mothership. 67 already in Chanute, 62 in Nevada, and 63 in Neosho. The bus stop forecast. So we'll go official sunrise at 6:51 with gradually clearing skies, and the wind not going to go anywhere today until the cold front arrives. But even when you look at the top left-hand portion of your screen, still hasn't made its way really into portions of Kansas. Just a little leading thunderstorm activity on the band. But look at the color contour. You can tell it's a coming. That is for sure. Now, before it gets here, we're going to end up with a Monday that's going to take us all the way into the mid to high 70s. Then we can sit back and wait for number one, thunderstorm activity that arrives early Tuesday morning. And then on the backside of that, watch the temperatures just steadily drop all throughout Tuesday into the afternoon and evening hours, into the 30s at some point in time. Wednesday night, it's going to be a little bit of a frosty one, especially coming off of a day where we end up 15 degrees above normal.
It is going to be nice and warm.
Once the thunderstorms roll through tomorrow, know that as I like to say, the old rug gets pulled out from under us on the thermometer.
True that. True that.
One of those where the kids, on the east portion, the kids may be like, I don't need a jacket. And it's mom and dad, you go, oh, you gonna want one here in a little bit.
And that'll be for Wednesday. Yeah.
No. It's tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Early thunderstorm activity arrives from the northwest, pushes to the east. On the backside of it, a massive cold front that will drop us 25 degrees through the course of Tuesday afternoon.
Did this front just take like an extra day to move in?
Nope.
I remember last week we talked about...
We've had it slated for Monday night begins, Tuesday morning thunderstorms, Tuesday cold front.
Oh, I guess maybe the rain, because we had projected last week like Sunday night into Monday for rain too.
No, that was Sunday night isolated. That was out to the west.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday morning thunderstorms followed by cold front.
Okay. All right. Well, major news networks Saturday projected Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. Biden, who turned 78 at the end of this month, will become the nation's oldest president when he is inaugurated in January. Senator Kamala Harris is America's first female and first Black and South Asian vice president-elect. The race was called Saturday morning after the Associated Press, CBS News, Fox News, and other projected Biden won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, giving him more than 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. Biden was also projected to take Nevada, putting him at 279 electoral votes. Only Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alaska are still in play. Well, reactions nationwide have ranged from celebration to outrage. Amelia Mugarvero spoke to Oklahoma party officials Saturday and has more.
We are grateful that America gets to begin again.
Today's election results meant a fresh start for local and state Democratic members. State Democrat Party Chair Alicia Andrews calling for Oklahomans to accept and move forward.
There are people who may not be happy with the outcome. But that's what democracy is that we all get a voice, we all get a say, and we all accept the outcome.
But with President Trump refusing to concede, Tulsa Democrat Chair Amanda Swope is more anxious for the president's next move.
As excited as I want to be, I feel like it's going to be a process that gets drawn out longer than I'd like to see.
Tulsa Republicans were also out making their voices heard with a Stop the Steal car rally near 71st and Memorial, saying this election is not over.
Oh, they scream victory. No, that's a false. That is false.
We spoke to Rhonda Velmont Smith with the Tulsa County Republican Party.
We're going to wait. We're just going to wait and see what happens. But until then, we're going to let President Trump know that we've got his back. He's taken care of us for 4 years. Now we're going to hold him up and show him encouragement.
Back in the Greenwood District, we found a public celebration for the news Joe Biden will be president and Kamala Harris will be the first African-American woman elected vice president.
Still we rise, together we rise, and together we make a stronger America.
Around 100 Trump supporters gathered on 7th and Rangeline in Joplin for a Stop the Steal rally in support of President Trump. Trump supporters waved flags and signs reading "Stop the Steal, Biden for treason," and other words of support for Donald Trump. The rally was promoted on social media over the past 2 days in hopes of a big turnout. Holiday cheer is spreading in Pittsburgh. Motorcyclists got together Saturday for the 36th annual Toy Run, donating dozens of gifts for kids to the Salvation Army. Local bikers gathered outside the Big Lots in Pittsburgh, picking up toys from there and other local businesses to donate to the cause. Different biker groups headed out together on a parade down Broadway to the Salvation Army, where buckets and tables were waiting for the toy donations. This event kicks off the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Box campaign, which helps out hundreds of families in need each year.
It's important because, you know, these bikers just want these kids to have a good Christmas, especially this year with everything that's been going on. I think it's important that the community gets the help where they can get the help.
Last year, the Toy Run donated more than 200 toys. Well, over at the McCune Farm to Market store, folks got crafty making holiday signs yesterday. This is one of their first classes they brought back after putting activities on hold due to COVID-19. They're still keeping things relatively small, though. A total of 15 people could sign up to paint these Christmas-themed signs.
We normally do classes 2 or 3 times a month, but with the pandemic, all of our classes have been suspended. So we're excited to be able to offer a smaller, safer version of our class so people can make some unique Christmas gifts and socialize a little bit.
You can learn more about activities at the McCune Farm to Market store by checking out the link we've shared in this article on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, we're going to tell you about a free throw marathon at Emporia State and how it's helping out a little girl in need. Plus, reaction worldwide to Joe Biden's projected victory in the presidential election. But first, it's 5:37.
Might be windy today, but I tell you what, afternoon's going to be a whole lot warmer on Monday than it is on Tuesday. Up into the mid-70s. Cold front begins tomorrow morning after the thunderstorms roll through and drops us about 25 degrees. Be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, tropical storm Eta sweeps across Cuba on Sunday. The storm dumping rain on the country, leaving streets and homes flooded, as well as forcing thousands of residents to evacuate. With sustained winds of 60 miles per hour, the storm pummeled Cuba's coastline. According to authorities, around 25,000 people have been evacuated due to the storm. Earlier this morning, the storm hit the Florida Keys. World leaders congratulate Joe Biden and Kamala Harris after they were declared the winners of the 2020 election. Amy Kellogg is in Florence, Italy, with that reaction.
Congratulations poured in from European leaders. It's no secret there's a sense of relief here and that transatlantic relations have been strained over the last 4 years with divergence on a number of issues from the Iran nuclear accords to climate change. Most leaders have been quite guarded and diplomatic, but the mayors of London and Paris let it rip. Welcome back, America, tweeted Paris's Anne Hidalgo. Congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for their election. While we're about to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement, this victory symbolizes our need to act together now more than ever in view of climate emergency. And London's Sadiq Khan tweeted, "Congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on your well-deserved win. London looks forward to working with you. It is time to get back to building bridges, not walls." And a senior Palestinian official had this to say.
It's an end of a very dangerous and toxic era that has tainted not just the US, but actually the whole world. And when it comes to Palestine, it has seriously targeted Palestinian rights, destroyed the chances of peace.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu congratulated Biden, but also thanked President Trump for his support of the Jewish state, tweeting, "Thank you, Donald Trump, for the friendship you have shown the state of Israel, and for me personally, for recognizing Jerusalem and the Golan, for standing up to Iran, and for the historic peace accords and bringing the American-Israeli alliance to unprecedented heights." On the streets of Iran, there were lots of opinions, notably optimism that President-elect Biden could do something to ease the ever-sharpening standoff between Iran and the U.S.
No official word yet from Russia or China. It is said those countries are observing their own sense of protocol in terms of waiting to see how the legal challenges to the Biden victory play out. Joe Biden's ancestral village in Ireland held a parade to celebrate his projected victory in the election. Residents of Carlingford waved American and Irish flags, while a local pipe band played a special new anthem called Our Local Joe. Andrea McKevitt, a Louth County councilor and distant relative of Biden, said she feels that the U.S. president-elect has a good understanding of Brexit and its impact on Ireland.
I think Joe Biden understands the Good Friday Agreement and issues like Brexit and how they will affect our country, and I know that he will look after our country.
The Good Friday Agreement allowed the free movement between the Republic of Ireland and the British-owned Northern Ireland. Following the UK's decision to leave the European Union, both have been engaged in negotiations on whether there should be a hard border between the two countries. Well, thousands of miles from the Ireland and ancestral town, Kamala Harris celebrated the new vice president-elect. Folks in southeastern India woke up to historic news for the people of this small village. This was also big news because the new vice president-elect has roots there. Harris's mother, Shaimala Gopalan Harris, is from the village, roughly 200 miles from the city of Chennai. A large billboard with Harris's picture notes her ancestral connections, and the village sent messages of congratulations and pride. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOM News Now Facebook page, President Trump yet to concede the election while his campaign pursues legal challenges in several battleground states. Our question to you is, should the president concede? And we'll begin with Cassie Hogarty, who says, bleep no. Count every vote, make it a legal election. Linda Bourne with Casey says no. Tanya Smith says no, he needs to fight it. And Navy Joe Dewey says no. Jim Armstrong calls it sad with all the electoral competitions across the U.S., only one with claims of fraudulence with no verified evidence/proof of any sort to substantiate the claims. Jim says all votes must be counted, the loser must put on big boy pants and bow out. As far as our morning Insta Poll goes right now, we've got 73% of you saying no, President Trump should not concede the election. You still got plenty of time to vote. Go to KOMNewsNow.com/vote. News you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President-elect Joe Biden is expected to announce details of his COVID-19 task force today at a victory rally on Saturday. Biden promised to fight the virus and work to unite Americans when he takes office on January 20th. CBS News has also learned Biden plans to unveil a series of executive orders on day one of his presidency to reverse many of President Trump's policies. That includes rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement. Plenty of voters in Kansas are upset about Saturday's call on the election. Trump supporters gathered outside the Kansas State House in Topeka, voicing their opposition to Biden. As dozens of people assembled there say they had concerns about fraud and corruption. Around 100 Trump supporters gathered on 7th and Rangeline in Joplin for a Stop the Steal rally in support of President Trump. Trump supporters waved flags and signs reading "Stop the Steal," Biden for treason, and other words of support for Donald Trump. The rally was promoted on social media over the past 2 days in hopes of a big turnout. Motorcyclists got together Saturday for the 36th annual Toy Run, donating dozens of gifts for kids to the Salvation Army. Local bikers gathered outside the Big Lots in Pittsburgh, picking up toys from there and other local businesses to donate to the cause. Different biker groups headed out together on a parade down Broadway to the Salvation Army, where buckets and tables were waiting for the toy donations. This event kicks off the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Box campaign, which helps out hundreds of families in need each year. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A warm and windy Monday. Temperatures up into the high 70s, coming in from the south at 15 to 28 miles per hour. It's already blustery and haven't even got the sunrise yet. Now overnight, here's the big developments. Temperatures are going to be great at the turn of the clock into midnight, and then thunderstorms roll in from the northwest. They push off to the east, and watch the temperatures just plummet after the rain rolls through, all the way down into the 30s there for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Of course, we'll have all the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Emporia State basketball players spent the weekend shooting free throws, and they did it for 24 hours straight. And it's all to help the family of a former ESU sports information student assistant whose daughter is battling the fight of a lifetime. Marley Campbell shows us how the Hornets hope to turn hoops into hope.
It's more than just basketball.
Being able to do something that I love to help someone else, that's just amazing.
For 24 straight hours, Emporia State hoopers are stepping up to the free throw line, knocking down shot after shot to step up for a young girl named Brianna.
Today we have buckets for Brianna going on, just opportunity for us here at Emporia State in the women's basketball, men's basketball department to be able to help a little girl that's battling leukemia.
3-year-old Brianna McBride was diagnosed with leukemia in September.
She's battling through something that not a lot of people battle through. So she's going through a tough time in her life where I think people bringing awareness to it, giving her courage and just happiness could do a long way for her.
Our heart was just so sad. But knowing that we could do something great for her, we were really excited about that.
The Hornets will take turns shooting free throws from noon Saturday to noon Sunday around the clock in 1-hour shifts, taking donations and pledges for every swish to help the McBride family in Brianna's fight.
What an amazing opportunity to bring awareness to Brianna and help their family and hopefully raise some funds that will help a young girl in a very difficult time.
Hopefully people will just jump on board here in the next 24 hours and donate to this cause.
We can help this member of our community get through these tough times, and we can use the game of basketball to do so.
A GoFundMe has been set up for Brianna, and it's raised more than $14,000 so far. If you'd like to donate, we put a link on our website at koamnewsnow.com.
Thank you, Tanya. Good stuff coming out of Emporia State right there. Well played by the Hornets. Now, if your morning routine includes Facebook, you can always go to @MichaelHayslip, KOAM. Just give you a quick little video about what we've got here on our Monday. And that's the same thing that you can also find on your Skywatch weather app, downloadable on all your mobile devices. You can flip on over to @KOAM News Now, and our morning talker and our Insta Poll this morning asking, should President Trump concede the election? We'll grab some comments here with Vince Yanez, who gives me one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Nice little picture. Janet Hornback says, let the rightful winner have a presidency that's not shrouded with accusations of illegitimacy. Once and for all, remove any doubt about who won so we as a nation can move on. I certainly do not want another 4 years of not my president, the losing side's elected officials boycotting the inauguration, etc. If former Vice President Biden has legitimately won the office of the presidency, let's definitely exhaust all doubt so his time in office is not wasted defending himself. Rick Norton says, good morning, Pittsburgh and KOAM friends. We say good morning, Rick. He says, no, President Trump should not concede until all votes are counted and all this voter fraud investigation. Now, he says it may end up as another election with voter ID and in-person except elderly, disabled, and military, which is what it should have been at the beginning. Rick says, now, don't start with your hate comments. I don't have time for it. And Alan Jones gives us some economic background here as far as the price of gas, interest rates, 2.65 for 30 years, stock market up even though we're fighting COVID, and GDP growth for the third quarter. I found this interesting right here just because of the background, where Alan says the housing market is the strongest I've seen in my 23 years in business. Homes have appreciated at an unbelievable rate and sell within hours. He finishes off by saying, I hope our new leadership can build on these things and keep them going. But if I were a betting man, I'd bet the only place we will see these results will be in this post and past, plain and simple. As far as our Insta Poll goes this morning, right now, 72% of you saying that President Trump should not concede the election. Poll's still open. Let us know what you think. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back right after this. All I can say about Monday is get out and enjoy some ridiculously warm November temperatures. Just don't get blown away with the way the wind's coming in from the south. Now let's talk about what develops here overnight. Thunderstorm activity begins off to the northwest as it intrudes early Tuesday morning all throughout the rest of the AM on Tuesday. We got a big cold front on the back side of it. Look at those temperatures out to the west right there. And so after it rolls through, the mercury just drops all afternoon and evening long to the point where we're down in the 30s Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So like I say, enjoy 77 today. Back right after this.
Media outlets project Joe Biden to be the next president of the United States. A look at what comes next. Plus, we'll look at how four-staters reacted to the results of the election and how local bikers are helping make sure every kid gets a toy for Christmas this year.
The four states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, we'll look at the latest Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. And despite Joe Biden's projected presidential victory, the Trump campaign says it will continue to pursue legal action over the results. For our Something to Talk About, we want to know whether or not you think President Trump should concede. But first, a check on your forecast.
One more day of ridiculous November temperatures before massive changes are on Tuesday morning. Already 63 degrees in Joplin, 61 in Pittsburgh, and 67 in Chanute. 67 degrees in Chanute, and we won't have sunrise till 6:51. Even with the light cloud cover, it'll be gradually clearing skies, and the south wind is what keeps us so warm. That's not a gust, that's sustained right now, almost 20 miles an hour in Chanute, so no surprise that it's a little bit warmer up there. Top left-hand portion of your screen, a little thunderstorm activity, and a big cold front that is tracking toward the four states. Now, it's not a fast mover, so it's going to take a little bit. In fact, it's not going to arrive on us until early Tuesday morning. And then we start the thunderstorms first off, but look at the difference right there in temperatures between Joplin and Wichita. And so after the rain starts, it just drops right down on the thermometer to the point where we even see 30s overnight in between Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's pretty much just tasting November for daily highs after that and overnight lows in the 40s. So just a big cold front and then kind of stabilize the temperatures after a very warm start to the month.
All right. Sounds like we're in for another nice day today, though.
Today will be beautiful.
Pleasant.
Beautiful.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, major news networks on Saturday projected Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. Biden, who turned 78 at the end of this month, will become the nation's oldest president when he is inaugurated in January. Senator Kamala Harris is America's first female and first Black and South Asian vice president-elect. The race was called Saturday morning after the Associated Press, CBS News, Fox News, and others projected Biden won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, giving him more than the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. Biden was also projected to take Nevada, putting him at 279 electoral votes. Only Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alaska are still in play. Well, Trump supporters across the country come together for Stop the Steal protests, making claims about voter fraud, including in our four-state area. KOAM's Caitlin Shive reports on one of those rallies in Joplin.
Stop the Steal rallies have erupted across the country following the news that Joe Biden is the projected winner of the 2020 election.
This is a group of patriots that want to show our support for President Trump and promote Stop the Steal. because we believe this election was stolen from President Trump and a lot of other GOP senators.
Around 100 people gathered on 7th and Rangeline in Joplin to do the same, waving around Trump flags and signs that displayed the words "Stop the Steal" and other sayings in support of Donald Trump.
We could see all the support throughout the United States that President Trump had. It was unbelievable.
Terry Edwards has been promoting the rally on social media for the past 2 days, hoping for a big turnout.
The sidewalk's full, the parking lot's full. It's awesome that Joplin has came out to support our president. I want people to realize what has been done. The integrity of our election system is not looking good right now, and we want that changed.
Dola Michelle with the Joplin for Justice group released a statement to KOAM in response to the Stop the Steal rally and reaction from Trump supporters, saying, "I appreciate seeing people engaged in politics and taking actions such as protests. Still, my initial reaction was sadness that Trump supporters are falsely claiming manipulation of the election results without evidence." She also added, "Legal processes will affirm the integrity of the counts, then hopefully opposition will get on board and use their energy to fight for decency and a better tomorrow for all people." In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Edwards added there is talk of Stop the Steal rallies happening every week. Over in Baxter Springs, the community came together to show their support for the brave men and women who serve our country, marching downtown in the 7th Annual Veterans Parade. Different groups, including the Lions Club and Baxter Springs High School Marching Band, took part. Afterwards, a Veterans Memorial Service was held. Holiday cheers spreading in Pittsburgh. Motorcyclists got together Saturday for the 36th annual toy run, donating dozens of gifts for kids to the Salvation Army. Local bikers gathered outside the Big Lots in Pittsburgh, picking up toys from there and other local businesses to donate to the cause. Different biker groups headed out together on a parade downtown Broadway to Salvation Army, where buckets and tables were waiting for the toy donations. And this event kicks off the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Box campaign, which helps out hundreds of families in need each year. Well, despite the warm weather in Neosho, there's a festive chill taking over the air as people prepare for Christmas. Saturday, the Neosho Farmers Market teamed up with nearly 50 local vendors for its 3rd annual handmade holiday market. In an effort to help curb COVID, the outdoor shopping opportunity featured hand washing stations and extra space to allow for social distancing. The event included plenty of tasty treats, carefully crafted knickknacks, and other unique gift items.
Oh wow, it's just there are so many creative entrepreneurial people in this neighborhood, in this community, and this is just a great venue. Some of these vendors will outgrow this and go on to have their own standalone shops somewhere. Some of them already do.
Artisans and producers from a 7-county area helped stock this event. 6:07.
About a fresh air forecast, back porch, coffee sipping, beautiful November morning. Cannot beat this. Look at that gorgeous look outside of Television City right there. We're going to make it all the way into the high 70s. Just ridiculous November temperatures. Now, you know it can't last, and that's why tomorrow morning when the thunderstorm activity begins, the cold front drops in right behind it. Luckily, all that snow and ice, they can stay up to the north. We're not going to have to worry about that. But we are going to drop down into the 30s there from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, dealing with complicated grief.
Could the coronavirus lead to a mental health pandemic? I'm Elise Preston with new concerns for people losing loved ones to COVID.
Plus, we'll take a look at the PlayStation 5 before it hits store shelves and remembering the life and legacy of Jeopardy host Alex Trebek. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Alex Trebek, the beloved host of Jeopardy for more than 3 decades, has died at the age of 80 after a nearly 2-year battle with pancreatic cancer. He died at home early Sunday with family and friends at his side. Chris Martinez has more on the life of the legendary TV game show host.
Alex Trebek became the host of Jeopardy in 1984 when Merv Griffin hired him for the revival of the popular TV quiz show. Jeopardy soon became a daily ritual for millions, even on the silver screen.
Of course, it's 27 minutes of Jeopardy.
Over the years, with Trebek as its ever-present host, the show, where answers are always in the form of a question,
James with Polk,
won multiple daytime Emmys, and it gave game shows a new and brainy edge.
America is a very competitive society. I can throw the ball farther than you. I can run faster than you. I can do better on Jeopardy than you. Oh yeah? Let's find out.
Trebek started his career in journalism as a reporter with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. The Ontario native made his American TV debut in 1973 as MC of The Wizard of Oz. In 2017, Trebek suffered a setback when he hit his head and underwent surgery. Then in March of 2019, Trebek told fans around the world that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, but he promised he would not give up.
The prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight this.
As he was receiving treatment for cancer, Trebek spoke with Jane Pauley on CBS Sunday Morning.
For 35 years, I've enjoyed the success of the show, but I've never really thought about the impact the program was having on American viewers. And I've become part of their lives.
Trebek hosted more than 7,000 episodes of Jeopardy! Chris Martinez, CBS News.
Alex Trebek began his game show career in 1966 on Reach for the Top in his native Canada. The late Whitney Houston was officially inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The virtual ceremony also saw posthumous inductions for the Notorious B.I.G. and T-Rex. 9 Inch Nails, the Doobie Brothers, and Depeche Mode round out the artist in this year's class.
All right, Tanya, let's turn our attention to the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta Poll. President Trump not conceding the election while his campaign pursues legal challenges in several battleground states. Our question to you is, should he concede, and why or why not? Bill Hibbs says let him have whatever recount he wants. Maybe that will shut him up and everyone else too. Watching our government and country be so divided is so sad, and yes, I did vote, just not for either one of those two. A guy comes in with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court cannot change election law. Votes arriving after deadlines are not legal. No legislating from the bench. He says observers are denied access to see ballots accurately, and Democrats tell vote counters to ignore signatures and postmarks. They're just cause to recount and closely observe every ballot. And then Guy goes ahead and gives us what Pennsylvania law requires. Johnny Jeffrey says anytime you think someone would never cheat in an election, just remember Eric Holger with the Fast and Furious controversy. Convicted and never jailed. Al Sharpton owes millions to the IRS, never jailed. He says, et cetera, et cetera. Sherry Collins says he should not concede because he is right to fight the fraud. And Sheila Eccles says president has every right to have this investigated, have to recount of ballots and making sure they're legal. It's not any different than when it was recounted between Gore and Bush. If there's illegal ballots in the mess, they should not be counted. Also, too, this morning on our Insta Poll, asking the question, should President Trump concede? 72% coming in and saying no, he should not. Poll still open all morning. Go to komnewsnow.com/vote. I'll try that again. komnewsnow.com/vote. Be back right after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning as coronavirus deaths rise in the U.S. and so many families lose loved ones. Mental health experts are bracing for a grief pandemic. Most people experience intense grief when they lose someone close, but for some, they are unable to adapt to the loss as time goes on. Elise Preston has more on what's known as complicated grief.
These photos are a glimpse into the life of Eric Moldberg and what he had ahead of him. But in 2004, the 13-year-old died of cancer, leaving his mother, Stephanie, overwhelmed by his unimaginable loss.
He was so brave.
4 years after Eric's death, Stephanie said it felt as though it just happened every single day.
My grief hurt so much, it was almost like physical. I didn't have any faith in myself to make a good decision.
She was suffering from prolonged grief disorder or complicated grief, a condition that makes it difficult for a person to function because they experience intense, continued longing, sadness, and preoccupying thoughts of a loved one.
People are stuck. They can't find a way forward, and very often they're sort of caught up in some kind of either being afraid of the grief and trying to avoid it all the time.
Dr. Catherine Shears, the director of the Center for Complicated Grief at Columbia University. She's concerned with so many loved ones separated and dying alone during the COVID pandemic, we could see more people suffering prolonged grief.
Feeling guilty about not having been with them, angry about not being able to be with them. And those kinds of reactions to COVID can become derailers if you don't deal with them.
A recent study shows for every person who dies of COVID-19, 9 families are left to grieve. With the death toll climbing, millions are grieving. Therapists are expecting to see a bereavement pandemic in the coming months. Stephanie went through a 16-week treatment program at Columbia.
I found out that you can grieve and live at the same time, and grieve and move forward in the same time.
She says she's grateful she can now find joy in her life. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
About 20% of people who mourn the loss of loved ones deal with complicated grief. Women and people of color are more prone, as well as people with a history of anxiety and mental health struggles. Well, new research finds vaping can lead to traditional smoking for teens, even when they don't have intentions to pick up the habit. A Children's National Hospital study looked at about 8,600 adolescents and found among kids who said they had no plans to smoke, those who used e-cigarettes were 4 times more likely to start. Older men are being underdiagnosed and undertreated for osteoporosis, and that's according to new research from the American College Rheumatology's annual meeting. Osteoporosis results from the loss of bone mass and change in bone structure. Researchers say screening recommendations need to be more consistent for men. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Winds died down a little bit out there. It's just a beautiful Monday morning. Temperature's going to push into the high 70s later on. But remember, it's tomorrow morning thunderstorms followed by a big cold front. So get out and take advantage of a gorgeous beginning of the week before our temperatures get a little bit more November-like. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Media outlets project Joe Biden to be the next president of the United States. A look at what comes next. Plus, we'll look at how 4 staters reacted to the results of the election and how local bikers are helping make sure every kid gets a toy for Christmas this year.
The 4 states most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, why control of the Senate will come down to 1 state. Something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're asking whether or not you think President Donald Trump should concede the election. But first, a check on your forecast.
It was real windy earlier this morning, and we still got about 21 minutes before sunrise right there. But it's been nice and calm here for about the last 10 minutes. Flag kind of laid down right there, and a gorgeous start outside of Television City. We'll see the skies begin to lighten here from the Freeman Health System sky camera next time we take a look at it. 63 degrees, just absolutely delightful outside. 64 in Cassville, 65 in Indy, and 63 in Fort Scott. For the bus stop forecast, nary a worry for the kids. Just a little increase in wind. It'll reemerge here. But even when they're on their way home, it's still going to be in the 70s. So just say, you know, don't lose the hat on the way home will be the big factor. A little light cloud cover out to the west, and it'll look up to the northwest. That's what we're awaiting, that cold front. Now it's in no hurry to get here, and it won't affect us until early Tuesday morning. When Future Track puts it into motion, there's the development of those thunderstorms. Going to see some heavy rain as well as some high wind, especially the farther northwest that you push on our highlighted counties. Now watch the old temperature number there, and down it goes as the clouds clear off. All the way into the 30s for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And then it's a little taste of November that reemerges. So don't be fooled by that 69 on Tuesday, because that's what it's going to be when the clock rolls from Monday into Tuesday. It's going to be in the 50s and 40s tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
Need a little rain, though.
Enjoy today, though.
We need a little rain.
Yeah, we could use that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but
Haven't got it yet.
You know what our monthly total is right now? 9 days in? Goose egg.
Yeah, I was going to say, the isolated showers last night don't count, right?
No, Joplin Regional has yet to pick up any. That was all out to the west.
There you go.
That was western southeast Kansas.
All right.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Michael. Major news networks. Saturday projected Joe Biden will be the 46th president of the United States. Biden, who turns 78 at the end of this month, will become the nation's oldest president when he is inaugurated in January. Senator Kamala Harris is America's first female and first Black and South Asian vice president-elect. The race was called Saturday morning after the Associated Press, CBS News, Fox News, and others projected Biden won the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, giving him more than the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. Biden was also projected to take Nevada, putting him at 279 electoral votes. Only Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alaska are still in play. Around 100 Trump supporters gathered on 7th and Rangeline in Joplin for a Stop the Steal rally in support of President Trump. Trump supporters waved flags and signs reading "Stop the Steal, Biden for treason," and other words of support for Donald Trump. The rally was promoted on social media over the past 2 days in hopes of a big turnout.
This is a group of patriots that want to show our support for President Trump and promote Stop the Steal, because we believe this election was stolen from President Trump and a lot of other GOP senators.
The Joplin for Justice group provided KOAM with a statement regarding the rally and Trump supporters' reaction to the election results. You can find the full statement on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Holiday cheer is spreading in Pittsburgh. Motorcyclists got together for the 36th annual Toy Run, donating dozens of gifts for kids to the Salvation Army. KOAM's Caitlin Shive has more.
Bikers from different clubs in Pittsburgh come together every year to donate toys to the local Salvation Army. For many, it's become a bit of a tradition.
It's really cool, especially for me, because my family's been involved in it since the very beginning. My uncle actually helped organize it for a very long time, and when he passed away, me and my cousins took it over. So it's really cool, and it's cool to see, like you said, 36 years down the line, I think we're gonna have a good turnout, and that's reassuring to still see 36 years later.
The Pittsburgh Toy Run is in its 36th year of helping out with the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Campaign, which helps put gifts under the Christmas tree for kids.
It's important because, you know, these bikers just want these kids to have a good Christmas, especially this year with everything that's been going on. I think it's important that the community gets the help where they can get the help.
The Salvation Army Christmas program helps hundreds of families in need through food assistance, shelter, bill assistance, and the Angel Tree program, and local programs like the Toy Run.
They gather and they purchase their toys, and then they parade through town and bring it to the Salvation Army. And it is a huge, it's like the first big toy drop we get of the year, so it's a huge contribution for the hundreds of families that we serve each year.
The goal is to provide each child with a big toy, a small toy, stocking stuffers, and more. The Salvation Army is needing around 15,000 items or toys for the Christmas season. The Toy Run is the first event of the year to start off the campaign.
It is a huge support. It's a huge encouragement to us, and it just gets everybody excited about Christmas.
In Pittsburgh, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Last year, the Toy Run donated more than 200 toys to the Salvation Army. Saturday afternoon, gearheads got together for a car show in Neosho, raising funds for a growing sports complex. 4-state sports will feature 4 gyms, baseball and softball fields, a water park, and climbing walls, but they've got to pay for it all somehow. Fundraising event featured live music and a cornhole tournament. Founder of 4-State Sports says his vision is starting to take shape.
It's going great. We just laid the foundation yesterday for the weight room, and you know, that was the first step. We kind of wanted to grow slowly so we could A, afford it, and B, keep people safe with COVID.
You can keep up with 4-State Sports' journey by checking out the link we've included in this article on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. While it will be up to Georgia to decide which party controls the Senate. Plus, should President Donald Trump concede the election? We're going to let you weigh in for our Something to Talk About. But first, it's 6:37.
Coming off that gorgeous weekend of being outside, it's going to be a perfect Monday for it as well. Yeah, it's going to be windy, but temperature is going to cruise into the high 70s. And take advantage of it, because once the thunderstorms begin tomorrow morning, it just drops. We're talking about 30s in between Tuesday and Wednesday. So, like I said, 77 for one more day. We'll be back with Nation Watch Part 2 next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, the U.S. suffered its worst week of the pandemic. And Saturday, 130,000 new infections were reported. That's the most since the pandemic began. Close to 10 million confirmed cases have now been reported in the U.S. More than 237,000 have died, the most in the world. President-elect Joe Biden is expected to announce details of his COVID-19 task force today. At a victory rally on Saturday, Biden promised to fight the virus and work to unite Americans when he takes office on January 20th. CBS News has also learned Biden plans to unveil a series of executive orders on day one of his presidency to reverse many of President Trump's policies. That includes rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement. The Democratic Party won the White House in the 2020 election, but they weren't as successful elsewhere. Despite making historic gains in the House during the 2018 midterms, Democrats were not able to expand their majority last week. John Lawrence reports.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris getting ready to lead the country.
I congratulate him, but I'm not going to put aside conservative principles. We're going to fight for the things that we believe in.
Now, although President Trump was denied a second term, Republicans didn't go away empty-handed on Election Day. At least 7 Democrats lost House seats while voters helped the GOP hold firm in many suburban areas that Democrats were hoping to win.
We're going to have to bring all parts. Our Democratic Party is not as united as I wish it could be some days, and it's going to force us to listen to each other and try to find ways to get some really important things for the American people done.
As for control of the Senate, all eyes are on Georgia. Incumbent Republican Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are in tight runoff races against Democrats Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, respectively.
If these Senate races go to the Dems, Kamala becomes the tie-breaking vote, and it becomes much more likely that Joe can push forward the kind of robust agenda our country needs to rebuild right now.
But if Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell keeps his position, President-elect Biden will likely have to adjust his goals over the next 4 years. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Peach State has not had a Democratic senator in 20 years. Despite that, Democrats are optimistic, especially after Biden did well in Georgia and 800,000 new voters were registered in the last 2 years. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Morning Talker.
Yeah, Tanya, before we get there, I had some breaking news catch my eye here. This drug maker Pfizer says its analysis is, of its coronavirus vaccine more than 90% effective. It's from 94 cases that they used from volunteers. That being said, let's get to our something to talk about this morning. And the question, should President Trump concede the election to former Vice President Biden? Christine Shaw says absolutely not. The cheating must end. And if President Trump doesn't stop it, no one will. Daryl Beecher says if there's fraud, it needs to be exposed. And Brian Hallisey, he said he should accept defeat as he did victory. Terry Tackett goes with a bleep no, he shouldn't concede. And Lisa Hudson Featherston says, no, don't concede. We, the people, deserve to have a fair election. We need to know for our own peace of mind. If fraudulent ballots were cast, we have a right to know, and things need to be put in place so it doesn't happen again. As far as the results of our Insta Poll this morning, right now, I've got 63% of you coming in saying no, President Trump should not concede the election. You still got time to vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let's come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Keith Feiskius, a World War II veteran who made Joplin his home. Feiskius was in Army intelligence and reported directly to General Patton. He spent 9 months as a German prisoner of war. He passed away at the age of 95 on Friday. So this morning, we want to recognize his service and honor the life of Keith Feiskius, our four-state hero.
We're going to begin with Keston Allman, who gets to celebrate his big second birthday with an apparent snack right there. I don't blame you, kiddo. I want you to have a marvelous big number 2, Keston and Parsons.
Evelyn Tuba turning 2 years old this year. What a cutie there. Hope you have a great one, sweetheart.
Run out to Jasper. because that's where Nolan arrives, is celebrating his 3rd birthday. Happy birthday, Big Nolan.
All right. And Jackson Zorns in Baxter Springs turning 3 years old today.
Keep those 3-year-olds rolling. Colby Martin's got a 3rd birthday as well. Happy birthday to Colby. He is in McCune.
Walker Humble turning 5 years old this year in Pittsburgh.
And June Mary Elizabeth Strickland. She is celebrating her 5th birthday. The JMES, as I have now dubbed her. Happy birthday, June Mary.
Aaliyah Webb turning 5 years old in Carl Junction.
And from Mom and Dad, with love, happy birthday to Jarek Thomas. He is 9, and Jarek on his way to school this morning in Girard.
Trenton Soderman celebrating
Hey,
birthday
what's up,
number
kid?
11 this year. Trenton in Pittsburgh.
Happy birthday, Trenton. Lucas Hayward, now a teenager. I like that picture. Happy birthday to Lucas in Parsons.
Carson Smith, welcome to the teenage years. 13 for Carson and Oswego.
You don't see many 13-year-olds rocking an MTV shirt. That's pretty cool. That's well played, Carson. Well played. I don't even know if they were like playing, they probably weren't even playing music videos when you were born, but I like that. Joshua Schultz, he's celebrating his 15th birthday. Happy birthday to Joshua in Crestline.
And Brooklyn, Mike is celebrating Sweet 16 this year. Like that picture there, Brooklyn.
Braden Wall, a 16th birthday as well. Congratulations, Braden in Minden Mines.
And we've got Carrie Shannon in Ellsmore, Kansas, turning 20 years old this year.
Gonna take a trip out to Granby, and we're gonna celebrate with Heidi Query, as Heidi is celebrating her 34th birthday. Happy birthday, Heidi.
In Girard, there's a belated birthday wish going out to CJ Oni, 37 years old.
And we've got a 50th birthday in Pittsburgh, Terry Dodson. Happy birthday, Mr. Terry.
Lonnie Stansberry celebrating birthday number 58 in Arcadia.
Well, Donald Lee's got a 59th birthday, and we got some special birthday wishes here, Mr. Lee. He celebrates in Jasper because Rachel, Taylor, and Jacqueline all want to wish you the best. Those are his grandkids.
Patrick Nichols turning the big 6-0 this year in Joplin. Happy birthday, Patrick.
Over the weekend, Shirley Zwallen celebrated her 66th. Little throwback picture right there. We're going to continue this birthday celebration all the way into the week in Oswego.
Mary Greenow turning 76 years old. Happy birthday to Mary in Parsons.
Special birthday in Pittsburgh for Alan Garner as he celebrates his 80th birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Garner.
Marvin Floyd celebrating birthday number 81 in Carthage.
And Delbert Calloway, a happy birthday in Weir.
And let's see, we've got Kay Pyle celebrating another year wiser in Frontenac.
Happy birthday, Kay. Claudine Lucas, a happy birthday in Miami. Levi Simpson's got a 12th birthday. Levi celebrating in Columbus, and a happy birthday to Nick Bryant. Nick is in Arma. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll be eligible for some special deals from local businesses. So go to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Let's get to the good stuff here on our Monday morning. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous afternoon as we make it into the high 70s. Nothing wrong with this morning either. Winds actually died down a little bit. It is going to be blustery though throughout the course of our Monday. We'll go 15 to 20 miles an hour, sustained gusting in between 25 and 30. But of course the big changes are going to appear once we turn the clock from Monday night into Tuesday morning. Development of thunderstorm activity begins off to our northwest. Look at the temperature difference right there between Wichita and Joplin as we progress through Tuesday. And then we're still hanging on to the 60s there at sunrise, but after this thing rolls through, whoop, there we go. All the way down into the 30s in between Monday night or Tuesday night and Wednesday morning right there. Watch the plants if you still had them outside, and I don't blame you if you do because it's been so warm. After that, we're just going to have a taste of pretty much normal November weather, and our threat not too bad right here. See some high winds up to the northwest early tomorrow morning. We're in dire need of some rain though, so we really can't complain. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Roll a couple more comments as Rocky Cunningham gives us the smiling FedEx lady dropping off the rest of the ballots, he says. Dave Pitt says, a haiku. He will not concede, his hairline does not recede. Now get off my lawn. And not only that, Dave copyrighted that haiku, so don't try to steal that from him. Thank you, Dave. Christy Charbonneau says, no, he should not concede, investigate every chance of fraud. And LaShonda Cavender says, bleep no, he should not. He needs to fight. This all the way everyone knows this was cheating. We sat there and watched it. Everyone knows it. Look at the red. We back with Trump 100%. Doesn't stop fight for everyone. You know you won this by a landslide. Greg Horn says if he can get his recounts and lawsuits done in a timely manner, dragging it out with any specific issues is not good for the country. One final look at our Insta Poll this morning. Right now, 63% of you saying no, President Trump should not concede the election and should go ahead and pursue those legal avenues. Of course, we'll keep the poll rolling as we flip on over to Fox, and you've got all morning to vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Tanya?
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. President-elect Joe Biden is expected to announce details of his COVID-19 task force today. At a victory rally on Saturday, Biden promised to fight the virus and work to unite Americans when he takes office on January 20th. CBS News has also learned Biden plans to unveil a series of executive orders on day one of his presidency to reverse many of President Trump's policies, and that includes rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Climate Agreement. Plenty of voters in Kansas are upset about Saturday's call on the election. Trump supporters gathered outside the Kansas State House in Topeka, voicing their opposition to Biden. The dozens of people assembled there said they had concerns about fraud and corruption. Around 100 Trump supporters gathered on 7th and Range Line in Joplin for a Stop the Steal rally in support of President Trump. Trump supporters waved flags and signs reading Stop the Steal, Biden for treason, and other words of support for Donald Trump. The rally was promoted on social media over the past 2 days in hopes of a big turnout. Motorcyclists got together Saturday for the 36th annual Toy Run, donating dozens of gifts for kids to the Salvation Army. Local bikers gathered outside the Big Lots in Pittsburgh, picking up toys from there and other local businesses to donate to the cause. Different biker groups headed out together on a parade down Broadway to the Salvation Army, where buckets and tables were waiting for the toy donations. The event kicks off the Salvation Army's Christmas Toy Box campaign, which helps out hundreds of families in need each year. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Good looking Monday, up into the high 70s, gradually clearing skies. Thunderstorm activity early Tuesday morning as it rolls through with some heavy rain, high wind, and lightning. Our temperatures are steadily going to drop. We'll be in the 40s by tomorrow evening. Got your morning news continuing on CBS with that morning news coming up, or you can flip on over to us and join us with Mr. Irwin. What you got cooking, sir?
Well, we're talking about the Hyperloop. We're talking about a ping pong prodigy. We're going to reflect on the career of Alex Trebek, and we're also going to be talking with Connect to Culture's Emily Frankowski about what's coming up in the month of November.
Can't beat it, my man. I skipped over you. Anything you want to pitch for noon?
Croctober.
October.
I don't know. Why not?
Well, it's over.
I'm
It's
just
November
doing my
now.
best. I'm doing my best, Chris Fowler here. I'm just a traffic cop.
Actually, we're going to be making some double stuffed potatoes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. I'm pretty excited about.
That does sound good. Just in time for the cold front.
Yeah.
Wraps it up for this edition. Have a great, safe Monday. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.
How do you measure success?
For the